Welcome everybody back to boostinmotion, guys, and today we're going to do a review on some parts for my Q50. You guys always ask me, hey Boost, what's the long-term condition of these parts? So in this video we're going to talk about it. Let's go. So welcome back everybody. So everyone already knows this is the famous 500 horsepower Q50. Now in the next few series of videos I'm going to be talking about the different parts I installed. I'm not going to go too detailed and make these videos very short and concise, from talking about the performance from suspension and handling braking to some slight modifications I made to the aesthetics. My car really isn't have much aesthetics to it, and finally the performance. So let's just jump right into it. So what I want to start this series is I want to start it with suspension, handling, and braking, and some of the modifications already made to my Q50. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with wheels and tires. So if you guys already know, you guys love my wheels. I have Wed Sport SA 15R wheels. I got them for a steal a while back, about 2 years. And longevity wise, when you spend the money to get a proper set of wheels, they will last you. Now I have the typical curb rash from my parking, but outside of that, all four of these wheels have no cracks, no bends or anything like that. Just breakdown of some of the finish because of the salt, that because I live in Brooklyn, New York. I have some of the breakdown of salt and everything that ate away at the paint. Now moving forward from that, what I gotta sit there and say is this: there's always a question that goes around, well Boost, well, you know, I can't afford expensive wheels, you know, I'm gonna get the more affordable ones. Yes, and some people gonna say, well, if you get fake replica wheels, they're gonna crack, right? And what I gotta tell you guys is this: if you get the proper tire size with a nice thick side wall, you're not gonna run into these issues. When you guys go with a really low profile tire and you get mad at the wheel for cracking, it's because you didn't get enough tire sidewall. So I always recommend getting a good size tire sidewall. But anyway, that moves me to the second part. I wanna talk about the BARUM various tires. I got these tires for right around $400 and something about 2 years ago, and it also was very super affordable. They're a summer tire, and it's also an extra load. To briefly say that, when you have an extra load tire, that means it has more bias plies in it, and it's actually, and it can take more weight for the tire depending on the amount of pressure you're running in. I always try to go with a tire with a higher load index. Reason being is, I used to be a tire technician for a BJ's wholesale club, so I was trained by Michelin years back, and load index doesn't mean that the tire will withstand potholes a lot better, but what it does mean is that the tire can take more excessive pressure and or weight. So to sit there and say it, they're basically saying, yes, the tire should be able to take more beating when it comes to excessive load to it. All right. Now anyways, so I definitely love these tires. I've driven them in the snow, even though they're a summer tire. I am an all-wheel drive. I've also driven it in the summer. I've driven to down south some parts. I've driven to Canada and some parts of Midwest, and I have about 20,000 miles on these tires. So I definitely recommend you guys checking these tires out. They're right around $600 and something now, because guess what? I got them when they first came out, so as time went by, they noticed a lot of people were buying them, and now they're about $650 for a set. But definitely check out those tires. I completely recommend them completely. All right. Now you guys already see that I have brake calipers on the car, right? I got EcoBottom brake calipers. I had them on for about 6 months now. These come OEM, and I must say I love the brake performance for them. So for the guys who are already watching, I have videos, a DIY video. Hopefully I put a link up, or if you want, you can go look for it. I installed these brake calipers, pretty much a junkyard calipers, repainted them, everything on my own, and I installed them, and I got it done all for under $500. Rotors, brake calipers with the pads. They actually came with pads, and I painted myself, installed myself for under $500. That's insane, right? It's a really good deal. But also, I have the experience of always having non-sport calipers and going up to the sport calipers. And some of you guys always sit there and ask, well, Boost, do you recommend going with a sport caliper? And I must sit there and say, yes. I'm only gonna say that because even though I had the non-sport calipers and I had Hawk 5.0 pads, which was a really good set of brake pads and everything, they did what they're supposed to do. But when you go with a bigger brake caliper and bigger rotors, you add more surface area to braking, and also on top of that, it allows you to have a better distribution of force or pressure against all the rotors, slightly with a bigger rotor. So it just performs better. And once I went up to this brake caliper for this setup, I have a lot more driver confidence from high speed, higher high speed slowdown. So I definitely recommend a lot of the guys who own this car and want to go with the BBK that you do invest into it and try to get it done for cheaply. You have certain spots such as Rock Auto and Power Stop calipers that come like a whole set of like $800 to $900. So definitely look into those, all right guys? But anyways, let's move a little for some more. Now, also on this car, I have BC Racing coilovers. I have a video, I'll talk about it. Hopefully I put the link up here. Some of you guys always ask me, Boost, would you recommend getting springs or coilovers? And I always still sit there and tell you guys, I want coilovers. That's it. I only would recommend going to coilovers. Reason being is you can adjust the height of the car. So you can lower this car. You can raise this car. You can also adjust the dampering. Let me show you guys what dampering is. They have adjustment knobs here, right? They have adjustment knobs right here where you can adjust the firmness, the damping, how quickly the fluid moves up and down when you hit the shocks. So if the back feels too stiff, you just click this a few clicks that way, and guess what happens? It feels, it could either get stiffer or it could get softer. They have the same dampering right under there, and you can do that within seconds. And that is the adjustability that I want. Also, you guys can go with a different spring rate. There's different springs. You have softer springs that are out there on the market for the car, but you have harder springs. Now, I really can't show the BC Racing coilover because they're on the car, but what I could tell you guys is this. I've had the same coilovers on this car and my 2015 Q50. So these coilovers have about 60,000 miles on it. I did end up replacing one of the struts on this side because I thought they were bad, but it really wasn't. It was actually a bad stabilizer link. And I believe one of my rear shocks is bad. So I spent about $1,000 on it, but I got over 60,000 miles on them. And I'm, depending on what the future holds for this car, I'm probably gonna end up changing the rear struts and probably changing the driver front too, just because it's a refresh. But we'll see what happens if I do choose to keep the car. Now, speaking about coilover shocks, you guys need to get them. I just gotta sit there and say I recommend them over any spring combo because you can adjust the comfortability. Now, moving over to a few more handling components. My car also has, I don't know if you guys can see it, I have a STILLEN rear sway bar on this car. Now, if you guys don't know, there's about 2 different sway bars on the market for this car. You have the STILLEN sway bar, and you have Hotchkiss. Not a lot of people buy Hotchkiss because they never really put out the information that they have this for this vehicle. But I actually personally would recommend the Hotchkiss because it's a thicker bar with even more adjustments. And I like the Hotchkiss way more on the G37 370Z community, but they were just kind of late to the party for this car. So that's why not a lot of people purchase it. So I would definitely recommend getting a sway bar for this car because it helps you so much more with the body roll. And some of you guys are gonna comment below, so if I just get the sway bar but keep stock shocks, would it change up the car? It will change up the handling, but you're only as good, I say this an accessory, the suspension is only as good as the coilover, all right? So if you have a coilover on sway bar, the sway bar is an accessory to the coilover. But if you just have the stock shocks and then the coilover, I mean the stock shocks and then the sway bar, then guess what happens? You help a little bit with the body roll, but you're still limited by the stock shocks. All right, guys, so always remember that sway bar is more of an addition. Now, moving forward, let's talk about the front sway bar. Let me pop my hood. Let's take a look. I also have Megan Racing front sway bar. It's about one of the cheapest ones on the market for this car. Now, you can go with 2 other sway bars on the market. You have a Cusco one, and I believe you have a Tanambi. I had all 3. I deleted the video in the past because it didn't get much views because I was just starting off, and it was stupid of me. That video would have been so good because it would have showed you guys that this is one of the best sway bars to get. Reason being is the Cusco is about $200, but you can bend it by hand. I literally put the bar on the ground and I bent it by hand. So how is it gonna help anything with bracing the car? The Tsunami was really good, but I didn't like the brackets. They were very flimsy. And this one, the brackets aren't cut the best. I gotta sit there and say about the Megan Racing, but the bar is super hard to bend. I barely could bend it. I gotta put a lot of weight to even try to bend it. And the fitment could be iffy depending on, they just have a weird orientation how they design it. But it works and I definitely do like it. All right. Now a few other modifications on the car when it comes to the suspension and handling and braking that you guys don't see is I have rear Godspeed adjustable stabilizer links for the rear sway bar. That just allows you guys to adjust the pitch of the sway bar for the rear. I would definitely recommend that product. It's about $50–$60. It's in one of my old videos if you guys want to look it up. Hopefully I put a link. If I don't, I just hope you guys can look into that. I did have an eBay set of front stabilizer links on the car, but I ended up taking them off because they were eBay stabilizer links. They actually went bad on me and they contribute to a lot of noise issues that I was running into. So I definitely would recommend the eBay stabilizer links that I installed, but there is SPL versions that you can look into for the car, so definitely look into that. So at this current moment, calipers. Oh, and also I gotta throw the rotors out there. I had the rotors on the car for about, they're one of the cheap rotors from Rock Auto. I got them for about $20 for the sport rotor. That's a sport rotor for $20–$25 each. It was on sale, so I got all the sport rotors done for about $120. It was super affordable and I really loved it super much. But outside of that, tires, wheels, calipers, brake pads came with the car, so came with the calipers, so I don't know what brake pads they are, but they're very high metallic. You have rotors, you have the stabilizer links. There's no front sway bar for the all-wheel drive version of Sky 2. There's no front sway bar for it. There's only rear sway bars for the all-wheel drive. If you have the rear-wheel drive ones, you guys have the front and back sway bar that's sold as a set. Outside of that, the rear stabilizer links, the rear sway bar, and the front strut bar, and that's pretty much it for the handling of my car, braking, and tires. So definitely, guys, I believe I have some links to some of those products that I recommend for this car below. But guys, if you already made it to this part of the video, please, yo, shout me out, hit like, hit the subscribe with the bell notification. Guys, so much. I just wanted to make this video to just quickly talk about the suspension that I have on my car currently for the last certain amount of miles and either months or years. And most of these products that are still in the car, I would definitely recommend. So definitely check those links below to those products. Outside of that, guys, if you want to support me and support the channel, digs only period. But I also have a few other novelty shirts from the Teespring account below. Also on top of that, guys, if you want to contact me at boostinmotion on IG and Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you, guys, appreciate it. You have a good day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you.